I'd like to introduce our moderator for this next discussion, Maria Banga, and she is going to introduce our special guest. Thank you so much.
Thank you, WFN. In the true African spirit, we will say in our different dialects, Abari, Muzuri, Murishani, Makadi, good morning, bonjour, comment ça va? We want to thank you for awarding us the space, for inviting us, because the struggle is real, but the struggle belongs to all of us. So without further ado, I will not take a moment to be another time, another day. As African women advocates, experts in your own professional careers and catalysts of change, you have created successful organizations. You have led organizations that have advanced equity and human rights. Globally, women are at the forefront of business, healthcare, agriculture, crisis resolution. If there is a problem, women, we know how, in case we didn't know. We reflect on the struggle for gender equality and equity. Note, the fight has been ongoing 100 years or more. We have made progress in so many areas, but still more work needs to be done. Being African women in positions of leadership and influence, what is being done to reduce the inequality gap between women's emancipation in Africa and globally? So my fellow sisters, as you sit back, I present to you our fellow sisters in the struggle. Their stories matter, so take a seat and be open. We could learn a thing or two. Rita, take it away.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thank you, Maria. My name is Rita Aciro. I work with Uganda Women's Network from Uganda. What is being done, I want to first put a disclaimer just to say and recognize that the challenges are real. The pushback is real to women's rights, gender equality, and the feminist movement. That is real. However, I want to share the progress that we have made as the women's movement in my country on the continent of Africa. The women's movement, the feminist movement, has been critical and central in building civic competence, in building agency, in building voice and pushing back on discrimination against women and girls on the African continent. That can be seen through the progress we've made in women's leadership. The African continent, Uganda in particular, was the first country to have a woman vice president in the name of Dr. Specioza Wandira Kazibwe. And after her, we had Ellen Johnson in Liberia. Now we have Tanzania, we have Ethiopia, and many others. In my country today, as I speak, the vice president is a woman, The Speaker of Parliament is a woman. The Prime Minister is a woman. And there are so many other women. But those are women in the elective space. Yesterday we talked about women being in leadership, not only being looked at from the elective space. The women's movement has built competence. Women in civil society, women in the private sector, women in the academia are taking up leadership, and women at the grassroots. Women have moved out from the domestic sphere into the public sphere to challenge discrimination, whether it is political, social, or economic. And because of that, we are seeing more girls getting into school, more women getting into business, and more women challenging the status quo. As I conclude, I want to say the pushback and the social panic, because of the progress we have made, is what brings us here today. The 5 steps forward, we have taken almost 8 steps backwards. Because of that progress we have made, there is a social panic. Why are more girls graduating from school? Why are there more women in leadership? All of a sudden, everybody's pushing back. And for that reason, my sisters, the work needs to continue. Thank you very much.
Wow. We continue to share our stories. The struggle is real. It doesn't mean that change comes over a day or two. We have to work at it. We are part of that change. And we want to celebrate none other, Mama Julianne, a former journalist. She's heavily accoladed, but today I'll leave it for her to share her story.
I would like to speak English, but in English I cannot be powerful. I need to speak French. Beauté.
Beauté. Beauté.
OK. Oui. Nous avons besoin de rapprocher la distance entre les femmes.
We need to close the gap between women.
J'avais déjà une organisation, une grande organisation, mais j'ai vu des femmes qui travaillent dans les communautés, mais qui n'ont pas de ressources.
I had an organization, a big organization, and I saw women working in communities, but without resources.
Et j'ai décidé, avec les autres femmes, de créer le Fonds pour les femmes congolaises.
So that's why with the other women, I decided to create the funds for Congolese women.
Parce que les donateurs disent, ces femmes ne savent pas écrire les rapports, ne savent pas gérer, ne savent pas. Et pourtant, c'est elles qui apportent les changements réels dans les communautés pour lutter contre les discriminations, les violences faites aux femmes, travailler pour la paix et ainsi pousser le leadership des femmes.
Because donors say that those women, they don't know how to write reports, they don't know how to talk about their conditions, and they are the ones who need help because they are the ones suffering against discriminations, gender-based violence, and so on.
Elles transforment réellement notre société parce qu'elles travaillent sur les coutumes, elles travaillent sur le leadership, elles travaillent sur la lutte contre les violences sexuelles dans les communautés directement.
And those women are the ones to impact our country because they work in the field to fight against discrimination. They work on custom.
Et nous avons des succès. Je n'ai pas le temps pour vous raconter tout ce que nous avons eu.
We have a lot of success stories. I don't have time to tell.
Il y a des femmes qui sont allées affronter les chefs de guerre dans leur milieu pour leur dire ça suffit, ramener les enfants à la maison.
So there are women they went on the battlefield to tell those chiefs of war to bring back the children at home.
Les petites organisations que nous finançons ont formé les filles actuellement qui sont des féministes, des jeunes féministes dans les écoles secondaires qui vont faire le plaidoyer et dénoncer les violences sexuelles dans les écoles et dans les communautés.
So those organizations have trained young girls to become feminists and advocates at the level of schools and in the communities.
Actuellement, nous avons un mouvement fort des femmes qui travaillent à partir des communautés, qui se connectent dès qu'il y a un problème, même à Kinshasa, notre capitale. Toutes les femmes de province sont informées et elles apportent leur contribution pour plaider pour que ça cesse.
So there's a strong network of women in the communities, and even in Kinshasa, they communicate together whenever there's a problem. They rally together.
Et nous continuons à affronter la guerre. Nous avons plus de 30 ans de guerre dans notre pays et les femmes et les enfants en souffrent beaucoup.
We keep going through war. It's been already 30 years, and the people who are the most victimized by the war are women and children.
Nous, comme femmes africaines ou femmes congolaises, nous savons nous adapter. Pendant la Covid, les grandes organisations se sont cachées, mais c'était nous, les femmes, qui étaient au front pour apporter les services et sensibiliser, amener les gens où ils doivent avoir les soins. C'est nous, on n'a pas eu peur de ça.
So we Congolese women, we were very strong because during COVID, lots of organizations, they went into hiding, and we were the one going into communities and fighting for the population.
Il y a toujours un problème pour avoir les financements. Nous avons reçu par exemple les 300 appels des projets que les femmes nous ont envoyés. Nous ne sommes capables de financer que 60. Parce que tout le temps, il y a la discrimination. Les bailleurs de fonds ne nous donnent pas confiance.
So there's a lot of struggle going on obtaining finances.
Et pourtant, c'est nous qui savons les problèmes, c'est nous qui avons les solutions, mais ils ne nous donnent pas confiance.
Donors don't trust us.
On n'est pas capable, on n'a pas l'intelligence. Et pourtant, nous avons la
They
possibilité.
think we are not smart enough, and among all the organizations that need finance, only
Ainsi,
60
nous avons besoin
were
de
able to be
solidarité,
financed.
de soutenir ces efforts des femmes dans les communautés.
So we need to
et d'en
support
parler.
them.
Partageons. La langue ne peut pas nous séparer. Communiquons même avec des gestes pour que nous arrivions à porter la voix des femmes partout et à leur donner les moyens. Ce sont ces femmes-là qui ont besoin des moyens dans les communautés pour transformer. Rapprochons le niveau global et le niveau communautaire.
So language should not be a barrier. Even through gesture, we can communicate, and we need to support those women and help them thrive.
So it gives us food for thought. Maybe it's time to redefine feminism, to stay away from probably mainstream or defining it per our demographical locations. But it's time to come together. And further, we'll take it on to Miss Elliot. And Elliot will share with us what has worked, best practices. Take it away, Sister Elliot.
Wow, thank you so much. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
In Uganda, we usually think that when women are seated together, the minds are seated, and the men outside are saying, they are only just talking. They are only just talking. What are they talking about? But we have issues. Thank you so much, my moderator. My name is Elliot Orizaarwa. She will be born. Now I can be born in Washington, D.C. Yes, it's hard for me to speak when Rita has just spoken, because my organization is a younger organization that Uganda Women's Network has nurtured, and that is Women and Girl Child Development Association. I must say that for the last 25 years, I have been in the women movement since 1999 on 8th December, and I have seen it all. It's hard for now because Rita speaks about the pushback. I have seen the pushback in Uganda and Africa. I'm a woman rights defender. I'm a feminist. No ifs, no buts. But it's hard back to our country. Yes, we have had the best practices. The vice president, a woman, speaker, a woman, but what is outside? What is the gender language that we have in the community? What are they saying? She's a speaker, What have they changed? It's a big question. And I remember my sister from Black Feminist Fund spoke about it. What do we want to change? Because the good practices, yes, in Uganda, we have seen a number of women rights organizations speaking and influencing the policies, whether it is human capital development, whether it is technology, whether it is climate change. But the big word is these women are on the driving seat. So we don't want them to stay on the driving seat. They must go back. They must go back to the kitchen. They must go back to do the gender roles, care, reproductive health, but not make decisions. The practices, yes, we are there. We are all aware that almost in the world, Uganda is the first country to have the gender and equity certificate, that if government is reallocating funds, it should have the gender lens. Money should be money for women and girls. But where is the money? It's a good practice, yes. We have the certificate, yes. But where is the money for women? The good practice, yes, we have had women, feminist organizing back in the country and Africa at large. But the practices, again, being washed away. We all know aware, I'll tone my tone down, that World Bank recently hold money for the country. So if we have organized as feminists, and we have the speaker, we have the vice president, but we have over 85% of women in the country, this is Uganda, maybe in Africa, practicing agriculture. And the government is saying agriculture should be commercialized. It's only 20% of women in Uganda, I know Rita bear me witness, that owns land. And I must question it. I own land, maybe I have 1 acre of land, but I don't have control to plant food so that I have food at my household for my children and for my members of the household, because my husband has control. And where is the market if you are telling me that money is for commercialization of agriculture? It's because time is not enough for me, and the story can continue. We can continue the conversation. But as I conclude, what am I asking? I am asking the feminists in the house to start rethinking. Don't think about yourself, think about the African woman. How do we reshape our organizing? How do we re-strategize our organizing? Where is the woman at the grassroots level? How do we assemble them? Development is for all of us, and when my sister is happy, I am happy. I submit.
And we'll bring to you Sister Alice Njuki. Take it away.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Alice Janet Njuki, and I'm the Executive Director of Icon Enterprise Foundation. And we believe that transformed communities are thriving families. So the approach we use is engaging the smallest group within our community, which is a family, and within the family you have a number of members in there. And as she mentioned, we go in to empower the women and the girls, but then we realized that there were some gaps being created and probably challenges at the grassroots as well. For instance, gender-based violence. Women gave feedback saying that what you're doing for us is really good. We feel empowered. We've been able to have some savings, do some business, make money, send kids back to school, but we are having problems with the men. So we had to change the approach and also have the male engagement. So that way we address all the issues that have been raised. And then we do capacity building on leadership, teaching them, guiding them and giving them skills, telling them you can lead together. If a woman is a leader, let them lead, don't suppress them. And then what we do is also we engage the young ones, the children, through school clubs. That way we create sustainability in that we don't only look at the adults, but we have inclusivity for everyone within the family, within the community at different levels. So that's the approach we use, and we believe that not one solution fits all communities. So when you talk about coming up with approaches and solutions for Africa, you still have to break it down into different solutions for specific groups because they have different beliefs, they have different cultures, and they live in different locations. So we all face different challenges, but we believe coming together, we learn from each other, we share, we see what works elsewhere, and then we are able to apply it on our side to better ourselves as families within communities, then our community at large, and eventually the whole nation, and eventually it will be Africa. So that's how we take it. Thank you, everyone, and thank you for this opportunity.
And finally, we do apologize. We know our time is over, but give us a moment. So without further ado, we'll just sum it up. Take it away, my sister.
Thank you. My name is Massan D'Almeida, and I'm from XOESE, the Francophone Women's Fund. I'll try to be short. I echo all that my sisters are saying on the stage, but also the voices of women from the continent. We badly need money to do the work. But as we are all saying, which type of money? Long-term funding, flexible funding, multi-year funding. But I think that we need more than that. We need to rethink the way we are doing this giving. All of us, the Women's Fund, the organization providing resources, we currently fund less than 7% of the application that we are receiving. And all of us is the same situation. But the way we are giving, the giving system has been taught, we are creating big babies. I always think that if many of us here are mothers, if we are to keep giving money to our children of 30 years of age, 40 years of age, 50 years of age, as we started at the beginning when they are 1 day old, then we are in trouble. But currently, this is what the donors community is doing. We give out money to the organization, and some government will ask you to spend to the last penny on the project. Don't keep anything for yourself. So when you get the money, you are very happy because you have money to do the work. But at the end of the project, you are as poor as you were at the beginning. So there's a major problem with that giving. I think that we need to invest in the organization, in their financial resilience, in their capacity to be able to do the work when we withdraw, because however long a donor wants to support a given organization, sometimes they will say, as long as 10 years. And what happens after 10 years when you are withdrawing? So that's the major situation in which many organizations are finding themselves, although we don't have, all of us, enough money to do the work, but when we do have, at any time in the future, near or far, you are going to get into trouble. And that creates a kind of anxiety with individually, but also at the organization level. How do we sustain this work that we are passionate about? How do we make sure that it will continue beyond the funding that we currently, the small, tiny funding that we currently have? So I think that it is now that we are providing the resources that we need to allow them to take portion of it to start doing investments so that in 5 years, in 10 years, when we withdraw, they will have enough resources to continue doing this work. So that will be my major appeal to all of us to start providing resources differently, continue providing, increasing the quantity, but also the quality of the resources that we are providing. And beyond that, lastly, I think we need to build the capacity of the movements that we are supporting, not only to do the work on the ground, but to have the capacity to argue and fight with the organizations that are supporting us, the countries that are supporting us, so that they improve their system. Because sometimes the type of requirements they place on these organizations is not humane, because it's terrible. We are killing them while we are trying to support them. We need to build their capacity to be able to advocate more. Thank you very much.
Wow. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for bearing with us. And thank you for awarding us this time. If anything, I would like to leave you with 2 words, borrowed from the Bantu. And today we will redefine Ubuntu. Yes. From saying, I am because you are. But instead, I want us to remodify it as women, to say we are each other's sisters. Many a time we say, we have heard, I am my brother's keeper, but we want to be each other's sisters, meaning we embrace each other beyond the race, the nationality, the different religions and creed. We are women first. The struggle is real. So in essence, from another Bantu term, we will bring umoja, which means together we stand, but divided and fragmented, we will not go anywhere. The movements, the chanting, the drum beating will go on, but change will not come until, as women, we come together to speak in the collective, beyond the borders, beyond the mountaintops, beyond the seas and the oceans. We are still women. Our struggle is the same. The discrimination goes beyond black and white. So it is the opportunity to redefine feminism today. It's not an African that feminism is not there. We are all feminists. So thank you. Merci beaucoup. Asante sana. Maita yenyu tatenda. Amanda. The power belongs to the women.